What would you do if you opened your mailbox one ordinary afternoon, somewhere around the middle of the year, and found a letter from Social Security telling you that your check was about to get smaller? Not because you did anything wrong, but because you went back to work. Let me put you right in the middle of it. Let's say you're 64 years old. You filed for your Social Security a couple of years ago because the money helped, and honestly, who could blame you? You're still sharp. You're still strong. So you took a job, maybe part-time at first, then a few more hours, because the bills do not slow down just because you turned 60. And then that letter shows up. It doesn't explain itself. It just tells you that some of your checks are going to be held back. And you sit there at your own kitchen table, wondering what you did to deserve it. Here is the part that I need you to hear before we go one step further, because it is the part almost nobody tells you. And it is the reason I made this whole video. That money they are holding back is not gone. It is not lost. It is not a penalty you eat for the rest of your life. And the system is not punishing you for being willing to work. Stay with me all the way to the end, because the good news is bigger than the bad news, and most seniors never find out about it in time to plan around it. My name is Harrison Cole. I have spent years walking retirees through the federal benefit rules that the agencies will not sit you down and explain. The rules buried in the fine print, the ones nobody hands you on a sheet of paper when you sign up. And the single most misunderstood rule I see, the one that scares good, honest people for no reason, is this one. It even has a cold little government name. They call it the Retirement Earnings Test. So, let me tell you what it actually is, in plain English, the way your own brother would explain it to you across the table, if your brother happened to know the rule book. When you claim your Social Security before you reach what they call your full retirement age, and you keep earning a paycheck, Social Security is allowed to hold back part of your check once your work income climbs past a certain line. That is the whole thing. That is the monster under the bed. And once you see exactly how it works, and exactly who it touches, and exactly how you get your money back, it stops being a monster at all. Now, I want to take a weight off your shoulders right away, because a big chunk of you watching this are worried about something that does not even apply to you. This rule only touches two kinds of people at the same time. You have to have claimed your benefits before your full retirement age, and you have to have money coming in from actual work. That second part matters more than you think, because the government is very particular about what it counts as work income, and the list of things that do not count is longer than most people expect. Listen closely, because this is where a lot of you get to breathe out. Your pension does not count. Your withdrawals from your IRA or your 401k do not count. The interest from your savings does not count. Your investment income, your dividends, your capital gains, none of it counts. The rent checks from a property you own do not count. And your other Social Security benefits do not count either. The only thing that counts is the wages from a job or the net profit if you run your own little business. So if you are retired in the ordinary sense, living off your savings and your pension and your benefits, this rule does not reach into your pocket at all. You can stop holding your breath. You are never the target. But maybe you are one of the folks who is still clocking in. Maybe you went back because you wanted to, because sitting still was driving you up the wall. Or maybe you went back because the cost of everything went sideways and the paycheck made the difference between comfortable and tight. If that is you, then I need you to know your number. And the number is the whole game. Here is how it works for the year 2026. If you are under your full retirement age for the entire year, you can earn up to $24,480 from work before anything happens at all. Below that line, nothing changes. Your check arrives full and on time. The moment you go above that line, Social Security holds back $1 for every $2 you earn over it. Not your whole check, not every dollar. One for every two above the line. Write that number down somewhere you will see it. 24,480. Because almost nobody knows it until the letter arrives. And by then, they are already scared. Now, there is a second number, and it is a far kinder one, and it kicks in during the special year when you actually reach your full retirement age. In that year, the line jumps way up to $65,160, and the math gets gentler too, because now they only hold back $1 for every 3 you earn above it. And here is the part that surprises people. In that year, they only count the money you earned in the months before the month you hit full retirement age. The earnings after that birthday do not count against you at all. And then comes the best line in the whole rulebook, the one I wish somebody would put on a billboard. Starting with the month you reach your full retirement age, the earnings test is gone, vanished. From that month forward, you can earn $1 million if you can find a way to do it, and Social Security will not hold back a single penny of your check. No limit, no test, no letter. For anybody born in 1960 or later, that full retirement age is 67. So if you have been treating work like a trap, watching the clock and turning down hours because you were afraid of losing your benefits, that fear has an expiration date, and the date is your 67th birthday. All right, now we have arrived at the thing I promised you at the very beginning, the twist that turns this whole story around, the single most valuable thing you will hear today. Most people believe, deep in their bones, that the money Social Security holds back is money they will never see again. They think it is gone, swallowed by the system, the price you pay for daring to work in your own retirement. And they are wrong. Beautifully, completely wrong. The money is not forfeited. It is not a fine. It is held, not taken. And when you reach your full retirement age, Social Security does something almost nobody realizes they do. They go back. They look at every month they held back part of your check, and they recalculate your benefit upward to give you credit for all of it. Your monthly check gets bigger from that point on, for the rest of your life, to pay you back for what was withheld. The earnings test was never really a penalty. It was a delay, a temporary hold, paid back to you month after month, year after year, for as long as you live. The agency confirms this in their own guidance on how work affects your benefits, in plain black and white. And yet, it is the one fact almost no senior ever hears until somebody finally explains it. I want you to sit with that for a second, because it changes everything about how this feels. The letter that scared you was not telling you that you lost money. It was telling you that you parked it, and that you will get it back with a bigger check down the road. That is a very different letter than the one most people think they are reading. Now, before I lose you to the relief of that, I want to be honest with you the way an advocate should be, because none of this is a reason to be careless. The fact that the money comes back later does not mean a surprise in the middle of the year is fun. A held-back check still stings when the mortgage is due this month, not 3 years from now. So let me give you the 3 moves that keep this from ever catching you off guard. The first move is simple. Know your number before January. Find out your full retirement age based on the year you were born. Then look up this year's earnings line and do the quiet arithmetic in your own head. If you are under full retirement age and you can already see that your work income is going to sail past that line, then you know withholding is coming, and you can plan your cash flow around it instead of getting ambushed by it. The second move protects you from the worst version of this, which is the surprise clawback letter mid-year. Tell Social Security what you actually expect to earn. Do not wait for them to catch up to you and yank a check out of nowhere. When you report your expected earnings ahead of time, the withholding gets spread out smoothly instead of landing on you all at once. The people who get blindsided are almost always the people who stayed quiet and hoped nobody would notice. Nobody ever notices in your favor. The third move is about timing, And this is where a little patience pays you back. If you are already close to your full retirement age, sometimes waiting just a few months to claim, or waiting before you ramp your work hours way up, is the difference between losing checks for a while and losing nothing at all. And remember, even if some of it does get held back, it is coming home to you later in a bigger check. So the question is never whether you lose the money. The question is only when you would rather have it. Let me make all of this real with one person, because numbers on their own never stick. Let us call her Margaret. Margaret is 64 years old. She claimed her Social Security back at 62, the way a lot of folks do, because the money helped and the future felt far away. Now she has taken a job she actually enjoys, and this year she is going to earn $40,000 from it. So what happens to Margaret? Her work income is $40,000. The line for someone under full retirement age all year is $24,480. That puts her about $15,500 over the line. Social Security holds back $1 for every two of that, so they will withhold somewhere around $7,760 of her benefits across the year. That is a real bite, and if it surprised her, it would hurt. But here is Margaret 3 years later. She reaches her full retirement age, and Social Security goes back and counts up every month they held her check short. They recalculate her benefit, they raise her monthly payment, and for the rest of her life, she gets a bigger check that credits her back for what was withheld. Margaret did not lose that money. She lent it to the system without meaning to, and the system is paying her back on the installment plan every single month for the rest of her retirement. Once she understood that, the fear was gone, and all that was left was the planning. Now, let me show you the other side of it, because Margaret was under full retirement age for the whole year, and a lot of you are standing right on the doorstep of yours. So picture a man named Walter. Walter is going to reach his full retirement age in the fall of this year, and he is still working a job he likes, earning good money. Walter panics when he hears about the earnings test, because on paper, he is going to earn around $70,000 this year, and he thinks he's about to get hammered. But Walter is in the kinder year, the special year, and the rules bend in his favor. His line is not $24,000 anymore. It is $65,160. And Social Security only counts what he earned in the months before the month he turns full retirement age. The paychecks after that birthday do not count against him at all. So instead of the disaster Walter imagined, only a small slice of his earnings in those early months even gets looked at. They hold back $1 for every three above the line, and the day he hits his birthday, the whole test disappears for good. Walter spent weeks scared of a cliff that turned out to be a curb. That is what knowing your number does. It turns a cliff back into a curb. Now let me knock down a few of the questions that I know are sitting in the back of your mind right now, because these are the ones people ask me again and again. Does your spouse's income count against your limit? No. The earnings test looks at your work income, not your husband's, not your wife's. Your number is your number. What about your pension? Does that push you over the line? No. And we already covered this, but it is worth saying twice because so many people get it wrong. Pensions, retirement account withdrawals, investments, interest, rental income, none of it counts as earnings. Only the money you work for counts. And do you have to track all this and report it yourself? Or does Social Security just figure it out? You are far better off telling them what you expect to earn ahead of time, rather than waiting and getting surprised. They do review the records, but the person who reports early is the person who never gets ambushed. And one more that comes up constantly. Does this earnings test have anything to do with the taxes on your Social Security? No, those are two completely separate rules that people blur together all the time. The earnings test decides whether part of your check gets held back before full retirement age. Whether your benefits get taxed is a different question with its own thresholds, and it deserves its own conversation on another day. Do not let anyone scare you into thinking the two are the same problem stacked on top of each other, because they are not. Here is one more thing worth knowing. A small mercy tucked into the rules. In the very first year you retire, there is a special monthly version of this test. If you stopped working partway through the year, after already earning a good amount, Social Security can look at you month by month, and they will pay you a full check for any month they consider you retired in their eyes, even if your earnings earlier in the year were high. So if you are reading the rule and panicking because you earned a lot in the first half of the year before you stopped, take a breath, because that first year has a door built into it just for you. Now, I want to be straight with you about what this video is and what it is not. This is general education, the kind of plain talk I wish somebody had given my own parents. It is not personal financial or legal advice, because I do not know your exact situation, your exact birth date, your exact earnings, or the 100 small details that make your case yours. So before you make a move, confirm your own numbers at SSA.gov, or sit down with someone who can look at your whole picture. The rule I have walked you through today comes straight from Social Security's own explanation of how work affects your benefits. Every line of it is theirs, not mine. My only job was to translate it out of government language and into the language you and I actually speak, and to make sure the agency's silence did not cost you another year of worry you never needed to carry. So, let us bring it home. If you take nothing else from the last few minutes, take this. The earnings test is not a thief. It is a delay. If you claim before your full retirement age and you keep working, yes, part of your check can be held back when your work income climbs past the line. And the line for this year is $24,480 for most folks under that age. But that money is not gone. It comes back to you in a bigger check once you reach full retirement age. And from that birthday forward, there is no limit on what you can earn at all. Know your number, tell them early, and time it on purpose. That is the whole plan. And it is enough to keep this from ever catching you off guard. I put the exact numbers, your full retirement age by the year you were born, the full list of what income counts and what does not, and a simple do this checklist, all together in one place, in a PDF file linked right below this video. If you want the numbers in your hand instead of in your memory, it is waiting for you there. And if you found out something today that you did not know an hour ago, do one kind thing with it. Send this to the one person in your life who is still working in their 60s and quietly terrified of that letter. They are the one who needs to hear that the money comes back. Because the truth is, you are never being punished for working. You were just never told the whole story. And now you have it.